Welcome to Steel City News. What is the reason for Coach Tomlin's decision to keep Kenny Pickett as starter after Mitch saves the day? Would two starting quarterbacks work? It has been done before in the league and may have contributed to a Super Bowl win. Why did Mitch play so well all of a sudden? All of this and more right here on Steel City News. In Tuesday's press conference, Coach Mike Tomlin announced that quarterback Kenny Pickett was cleared for full participation for practice today. And if he's also cleared to play on Sunday, he will be the starting quarterback against the Miami Dolphins. There seems to be a lot of opinions on the quarterback depth chart, and even some asking why Mason Rudolph is still third string. This is why I believe that Coach Mike Tomlin is keeping Kenny Pickett as the starter. It's clear that both Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky are capable starting quarterbacks, and I believe that in those first few games in the earlier part of the season that the offense as a whole was still working on coming together. They were still figuring things out, and that made things very difficult for Mitch Trubisky. You can believe anything you want about Coach Tomlin's reasons for bringing Kenny Pickett in during the Jets game. But as an athlete most of my life, I do believe that locker room business should stay in the locker room. And I'm not interested in it, or am I going to talk about it any further? And I do agree with Coach Tomlin's response, and I'll leave it at that. I'm sticking with the spark that Coach Tomlin was looking for, and I believe that he got it. With that said, Kenny Pickett held his own against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday and had the Steelers leading while he was in the game. And that says a lot about Kenny Pickett as a quarterback and says even more about him as a rookie. For a rookie quarterback's first start in a game, he was outstanding. And it is most likely that the decision to keep him as a starter was made because of a few things. First, Coach Tomlin doesn't want to be blowing in the wind. Coach Tomlin likes consistency, and once he makes a decision, he doesn't want to go back and forth. Going back and forth can be confusing for the Steelers' offense. You have to keep in mind that Mitch was signed to a 2-year contract, and that he is most likely a bridge quarterback and an insurance policy if Kenny doesn't work out. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers' goal now is to work on their long-term investment, and that is obviously Kenny Pickett. Mitch is good and may even have an edge over Kenny because of his veteran experience and time with the first stringers. I do believe that some of Mitch's success came from his 6 times more time working with the first string offense, and the fact that although the Bucs would have prepared for both quarterbacks, they prepared far more for Kenny Pickett and started figuring him out during the first half. So when Mitch went in, it threw their defense a curveball. And on top of that, Mitch played like a guy with nothing to lose. He had a little bit of that Kenny Pickett edge to him, and I like that. Now it's time to think outside of the box. It's fun to think outside of the box, right? Some questions out there are, if the goal is simply winning, what about 2 starters? This has been done at the college level for years, but can it work in the NFL? Well, it's not common, but the Miami Dolphins did swap out quarterbacks throughout games in the 1980s, and it may have led them to a Super Bowl win. It's as simple as having 2 starting quarterbacks and switching them out based on the play called. This might sound like an off-the-wall idea, but when Coach Tomlin said that both Kenny and Mitch will be practicing for the game against Miami, this came up a little bit, and although probably not realistic, I had to at least entertain the idea. What if the Pittsburgh Steelers just stick with dual starting quarterbacks and switch them out as they do all other players on the team? I know in theory that it's believed to create inconsistency on the offense, and I understand that. Every quarterback has strengths and weaknesses, and one may be the best option for a particular play called. It's interesting to at least wonder, as I said earlier, that one of the many reasons that Mitch did so well against the Buccaneers is because they spent all week preparing mostly for Kenny Pickett. And after that first drive, they seemed to have figured Kenny out, and that made it more difficult to do the same things again. Once Mitch came in, they were simply not prepared for him. Is that possible? Can having two quarterbacks relieving each other, working as a team, be a move that most teams are simply not prepared for? This only works when you have more than one good quarterback, and the Pittsburgh Steelers conveniently currently have three. Yes, Mason Rudolph is also a contender. I thought he looked great at camp, and he was the varsity guy playing against JV players, as Coach Tomlin put it. Imagine going into a game and the starting quarterback is unknown to the opposing defense until game day. That makes preparation more difficult, with no focus on who to study most. Definitely fun to think about, but I don't think that's the Steelers' style, and I think there's a very thin chance of it actually happening, but it is fun to think outside of the box. What do you think? Is a dual quarterback or two quarterback system something that could work? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching Steel City News. We really appreciate it when you subscribe. So if you haven't already, subscribe right here. And remember to hit that bell. It means a lot to us, and it helps us continue doing what we're doing and doing more of what we're doing and getting more content out to you. Thanks again for watching, and when you subscribe, you're going to get up-to-date Pittsburgh Steelers news, information, talk, and analysis, and a lot of things that no one else is talking about. So it's definitely some unique stuff. Thanks for watching.